How did several soldiers get taken out by terrorists? We're joined now by retired Major General Anthony Atolagbe, who was a sector commander of the United Nations and African Union mission in Darfur and field commander of Operations Safe Haven. Thank you for joining us on this night.
Good evening, and good evening, viewers.
That was quite an emotional scene there. So let's start from the very beginning. How did we get to lose so many soldiers?
Military operations are usually planned, and we plan it in such a way that they need to be very flexible so that you can adapt to any changing situation within the theater. Most times you work on the intelligence that is available to you, and it's based on that you conduct what we call an estimate process, which does an assessment of the threat and then critical commanders' information requirements and so on. And then you arrive at a course of action. And this course of action is translated to plan. And this plan is now put and shared with the various commanders along with higher echelons so that they can monitor what you are doing at your level. But things go wrong once in a while. So I've been there and I've seen this kind of situation before. I mean, all we need to do is, yes, we mourn them, we come back, get strong again, and then we see how usually we don't go on retaliation. We don't go on retaliation. What we just do is make better plans, do better conduct of the operation, or whatever thing we need to do at any particular time, we do it better than we are used to doing it. We learn from it. We do, first of all, what we call an after-action review. And after action review, we now do lessons learned. And from lessons learned, we adopt a new strategy and see how we do things better. But this thing happens.
Yes, it happens, and the nation is now mourning 22 soldiers. The Chief of Defense Staff, Christopher Musa, expressed his determination to bring these killers to justice. From your standpoint, what are some of the challenges the military faces in hunting down these perpetrators, and how crucial is it to hold these types of people accountable?
Okay, from my own point of view, and based on my experiences, both here and outside the country, I will first of all want to ask those who sign multilateral relations, defense pact, and so many other arrangements with other countries, especially very powerful countries. What are they actually signing? Because when you go to a kind of combined operations like we have under the UN, they take helicopters from Rwanda, we take Charlie 130 from South Africa, we take maybe fighter aircraft from another country, and then we have a kind of coalition. So how is it that if a country is fighting a certain kind of threat within its domain, that we cannot turn to possibly Niger and say, can you give us your DC-46 that can do reconnaissance for us? We call on Ghana. We are told that you have some aircrafts that are available to you. Can you give us this support and add to what we have? This is one aspect, that those who are entering into multilateral relations, bilateral relations, these are the questions they need to answer. What are you signing? What have you achieved so far? How does it translate to anything making better? Whatever kind of thing, that the challenges that we are facing here. That's one. Two, I think some people are not just taking certain things seriously the way it should be. And what do I mean? There are a lot of tech equipment out there that can be used to, do a lot of other things to reduce even the engagement of forces. So what are we talking about? Surveillance devices. A lot of them that are in different categories. So when we are talking about some of the challenges that they are facing, okay, let's assume we don't have enough equipment. We should be able to contact other countries to say, okay, give us this support. We don't have any strategic bomber that I know, because even the Super Tucano that everybody is talking about is a light attack aircraft. So can you imagine what a B-52 bomber from the US will do when it can, if you look at the radius that it can cover in just one drop, and you now see that if you have these bandits perhaps massing up in any particular location, you can just imagine the amount of wipeout that you will have achieved. So basically, I think some other things need to be done so that things can get better. It's not just we need 200 billion to do this. There are books that the Army, Navy, Air Force, at the defense level, they need to review. We need to have doctrines that we can work on now. And how does this doctrine translate to the type of weapons that we have? Because your doctrine should be able to tell you that when your men go out, they must achieve success. And if we want to achieve success, what do you require?
What do you require? So what you're suggesting now is training or retraining of armed men, reorientation of the armed men, the review of their operations and capacity building in general. But then, how do we address the issue of trust? Because it becomes bothersome when the people that should be guarding us are falling like this. How do we regain the national trust?
Well, you see, there's a place the Nigerian armed forces are coming from. That is from politicking, now back to real professional. So we lost some credibility somewhere where people actually, they felt that the military should just get away. But here comes the military, because we have a constitutional role, and then they need to carry out those roles. So they don't want us, but here they still need us. Now, coming to the operations, there were a lot of things that happened also during the military. We lost a lot of our aircraft, a lot of our equipment, due to one reason or the other given by the leaders then. Okay, so getting re-equipped also did not start just immediately the transition took place. So, and when you even talk about re-equipping us, you find a situation where we don't have the capability to produce this equipment. And I'm not sure we are also talking to maybe the right people. For example, if you go to Egypt, they have a company that produces some of these bird-eye avionics equipment that can carry out surveillances on the ground. I'm not sure maybe there's any contact with them. South Africa has an aircraft manufacturing outfit with about, I think, 41% from the UK, and theirs was supposed to be 59% as at the time I went there. How have we been able to make contact with them to see how we can perhaps ask them to produce some of this equipment for us? Some of these details we need to check out. If you go to Sudan, Sudan is in war. Are you hearing me? But as I'm talking to you, they produce a lot of mortars, a lot of RPGs, and they produce their own uniforms, their boots, and everything. So how have we been able to perhaps transfer some of the capabilities of some of these countries, being that we have some little bilateral relations with them, and then we bring in some of their capabilities to come and develop ours here. So some of these things, I'm not sure whether people who are there are actually informed about some of these things that are available within that. Some will even go to Britain. You want to go and get those ones will give you conditions and tell you that. Remember, we went somewhere. We went to meet. We're at a side meeting with a foreign secretary, and we were asking for a particular type of spare part for some tanks that they were producing. They told us that we have stopped producing those tanks. You can talk to so country, maybe they will have the parts. And then you start asking yourself, okay, if you say we have some parts or relations with you, what are you actually doing for us? You want to actually be part of the operations in the Northeast, but you are only producing some elements who are perhaps EODs, explosive ordnance devices. You ask them, they should go and train our soldiers how to detect. Is that what we are looking for there? When we have some capabilities here. So what are you actually developing so much that you think you are doing so much for us?
So clearly,
and they are hearing me. They know.
There
they know
needs
themselves.
to be more done, and it's good that you're here so that people can understand the issues that are going on. Let's talk about some of the human angle issues with this sort of events. Could you just share with us your thoughts on the emotional toll this sort of incident has on the broader military community?
Like I said, even as I'm sitting here, I know how it feels. I lost just one soldier in Sudan when I was a lieutenant colonel, and it was as if the whole world was actually dropping on top of my head. And like I said, they have already signed for this job, and in the oath that they took, they said they are ready to fight on land, in the air, and the sea. So let us leave that to the military, because they know how to manage this type of situation. They have to push it aside, and they just have to keep moving on and see this. We know that it's not easy, and it's more touching when you are at this particular kind of location and you see the families falling over themselves. You really feel very touched, even if you've not been feeling anything before that time. You now feel like, look, this is a worrisome situation. But I think with the kind of training that we have, we already put our mind into some of these situations. It's just that we never wished for it to happen.
Retired Major General Anthony Atolagbe, thank you very much indeed for coming to News Night. I must say a big thank you to you for your insight on the show.